Hey there. I've been stuck here all night. Can you get me out of this cage?
Erotic Awakening is grateful for the support of Foxy Fic. Foxy Fic is a website dedicated to erotica for men. All of their narratives and role plays are voice acted.
Explore what it would be like to get a blowjob from mermaid sisters.
To invite your cute neighbor over after bumping into her on a jog.
To make a deal with a demoness to lose your virginity.
To have your crush make a move on you because you've been too oblivious.
Or to have your annoyed cat girl begging for your attention.
Subscribe today with our affiliate link and get a free trial and enter a chance to work with Foxy Fic to create your own erotica.
Head over to foxyfic.com/awakening. That's foxyfic.com/awakening.
This week on Erotic Awakening, evolving limits, music, and hats.
Welcome to Erotic Awakening, an exploration of all things erotic. If you are offended by adult topics or prohibited by law, we recommend you stop listening right now.
The Erotic Awakening podcast is grateful to the support of our fantastic patrons who receive ad-free early access to the podcast, as well as other perks.
Thank you to all of our supporters. You know, we still have over 100. That's amazing.
We need 102.
Do we need 102?
Yes, that's my life's goal. 102 patrons. Not really. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Dan.
How are you this fine day?
Pretty good, actually.
We are back in the Columbus, Ohio. If you follow us on any of our social media thingies, you will see that we are moving because we are on a wheeled house.
We are.
We get to go someplace whenever we want to. And we were in the Michigan. And the Michigan's very nice, but it was very wet and
sandy muddy,
yes.
Yeah, when you're from the ocean, wet sand is wet sand. On the coast of Lake Michigan, and I don't know about the other Great Lakes, but at least with Lake Michigan, it's sandy until it gets wet. Mm-hmm. And then it's just gritty mud. And it was getting all through the trailer.
Yes.
Ginger would jump up on the bed or on the seat, and her paws were full of it. We couldn't cook outside. We couldn't get a fire going. We got one day of sunshine. Luckily, It was a Saturday, so we did get to travel up and down the coast a little bit and did some amazing little street side festivals and spent too much money. And, well, I don't know about that, but we did find some good cheese and bread and
other yummy stuff.
Indeed.
And here we are back in the Columbus, Ohio for the month of October 2021. Mm-hmm. If you are a podcast listener and say, damn, I'm near Ohio, I want to go have a cup of coffee with you guys.
Come to Columbus.
We've
got enough driving under our belt and more driving to do.
Oh, so I would go somewhere.
Would you?
I'll meet you halfway. So what's going on beyond that, Dawn? Oh, Dawn, hey, you didn't even know that. Do you know what we're doing for a topic tonight?
Only because I saw you write it on Discord to another group that you probably didn't know I was on.
Cheater. We are going to start a series of podcasts about growth in the lifestyle.
Oh, nice.
And what I mean by that is how people in general can grow from over time in a variety of ways. So, for example, tonight we're going to talk about BDSM. And specifically what we're going to talk about is the evolution of the limits that you and I have. Hard limits, soft limits. Mm-hmm. And in general, something about, and I've got some notes from other people as well.
Awesome.
When you first came into the old lifestyle, and I know I was there, but still, let's pretend I wasn't.
Wow.
What hard limits...
Do you want to know what year that was?
99 or 2001, somewhere in there.
Collared in 2001. We started chatting in 98. I started going to the chat rooms in 98. We got together in 99.
Okay.
I'm not trying to do the math anymore. Now I just remember the year because the math is depressing.
Oh,
depressing and exciting.
Side note, listeners, we made the production choice to leave the doors open, leave the windows open.
Because it's nice and breezy.
Life.
Yeah, so you might hear camp
little
life.
Goat carts going by.
The poop trolley was going by earlier.
You're lucky this is not a smell-o-vision. So, Dawn, what were your hard limits when you first came into the scene? I remember some of them.
Well, it's kind of funny because when I first started in the scene, my hard limit, my reds, my hard limits that I wasn't going to change.
And we'll have to define that.
Okay, so for me, hard limits mean do not push. Even Dan will not push my hard limits. They're usually based on baggage, they're triggering, they're whatever. They're things I do not want to explore. Okay? My soft limits are things that I may want to explore one day, but I find them scary and not totally interested in at the moment. But my master, who you became, would have the opportunity to push those if he wanted to, sort of thing, right?
Okay,
So,
fair. Yep.
So, like needles at the beginning, right? Ooh, I don't know about that. I saw a needle scene and that's all kind of scary and I don't really think I'm interested. And over time, it's like, oh, I see what that's about. Maybe so. That sort of thing. My hard limits, though, is what you just asked me about. My hard limits at the beginning, I think I had 4. And then I realized I only had 4 because I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right. But let's hold on to that for a second. So what were those initial hard limits?
So I have some basic hard limits, right? No. See, I don't even like to speak them out loud. So no underage.
Okay.
No bestiality. No animals. I'm not into age play. Age play.
Oh.
I'm not into age play, right? And that, even after 20 some years, that is still a hard limit for me. I don't know that that's one I want to push.
Keep going.
So no minors, no bestiality, no age play, no gun play.
But that came later.
That came later. That is true, because like I said, I didn't know what I didn't know. So there was those 3.
Right.
Can you think of any more?
Poop.
Oh, yeah, no scat play, not for me. Some people's kink, not my
Right,
kink.
right.
The poop trolley just rolled by. I got no interest in rolling in it.
So it's not to say that hard limits are things that we are ethically opposed to. Sometimes it is. Hard limits can also be simply things that do not interest us, entice us, make us hard or wet, or things that we resonate towards, right?
Right. For some people, they're, and these are just a few, right? So some people have no interest in fire play. For some people, that's what makes them wet, right? And they may have a reason for not enjoying fire play. They may not. So it just doesn't make them hard, wet, or yummy.
And now there's another layer of hard limits that I'm going to call the unspoken hard limits that you may feel, I want to speak these to make sure nobody has any mistakes about this. But in general, for the one that I'm thinking of at the moment is necrophilia, right?
Right. No one thinks to mention that, right?
You don't have to negotiate, when you and I, or me and someone.
And you might have to say what that is for.
At a play party, we're getting ready to scene, and they say, oh, I don't like stingy, and I don't like choking play, right? There's no expectation that I'm going to pull out a dead person out of my bag,
out of your bag, right?
Necrophilia is eroticism of the dead people.
So I got a couple of things, right? I got a story with that, and then I got a story of how my hard limit list became a little bit longer. But the story with that is the whole you don't negotiate necrophilia because it's not something that you're liable to come across in a dungeon, right? So, but wasn't I at, we were at Dark Odyssey.
Yeah.
And they had the objectification room. And I had to come up with a list. I was going to be one of the objects. And if anybody's got our story, Sex Stories and Power Exchange, this is one of the stories that happened. So I will give you that clue. But, I had to write a list of things that I did not want to happen to me when I was an object. That was hard because it's like, oh my goodness, I'm not in a regular dungeon. I'm in an outside campground where people are doing some really hardcore things I've never seen before. What are people going to think up that I can't sit here and think up to say no to?
Right.
So So you're like, you're overthinking it. Everybody else is like, you're overthinking it. If you don't want them to touch your butt, put on there, don't touch my butt.
Right.
Don't think about, the huge amount of things that it could be.
So, as you were about to get into it, I want to get into this, right? So your hard limit started off to be these 4 things.
Right.
Which would be underage people, age play in general.
Including words. I had to learn
Okay,
that.
fair.
I learned that the hard way.
No poop. And which one did I forget?
Bestiality.
And no bestiality, right?
Right.
But now that you've been around for a long time, which one of those have come off the list?
Which one of those have come off the list?
Right.
None.
Okay.
Those are hard limits.
And your hard limit list has actually increased in...
Mine has. And it's kind of funny because I was sitting in a steak restaurant.
It was a Mexican restaurant,
It was
but
a
I remember
Mexican
it.
restaurant? Okay. So we were only a year in or something like that. And we were with kinky people. We were at a munch, I'm pretty sure it was. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at the decorations around on the walls, and I'm seeing bullwhips and shotguns and spurs and all this type of stuff. And I'm looking and I'm like, no, no, no. Damn it, my list just got longer. So now I might do a bullwhip at this point, right?
You've done whips.
I've done whips. I've never done a bullwhip, which is 6 foot away.
Okay,
It takes a lot of
okay.
skill. So that is now on the soft limit list, though, right?
Okay.
But I'm not doing gunplay. I'm just not. There's a piece in my head that finds it kind of hot. But I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do that. And that's fine. The other one is spurs. Okay, that's a soft limit now, right? So that's kind of hot. But, yeah, when you don't know what you don't know, or sometimes you try something because you don't know. And then it's kind of like ooh, no. Like the electric fly swatter. I love electric play, like violet wands. 10s is on my hard limit list because I have heart issues. So I won't use a 10s unit. But a goddamn bug zapper, no. I've had it used on me before, and I don't like it.
For those that are not familiar, the bug zapper is this thing. You can get them from Walmart. It's really shaped like...
A tennis racket. Yeah.
Right.
So it's shaped like a tennis racket, and they actually use it to swat flies and stuff. And someone used that on me in a scene, and I almost swung. That was one of those that made me want to punch the person that used it on me. And if something makes me feel like that, that's not a good headspace for me.
Sure.
So
my hard limit list pretty much started off in parallel with yours. As time has gone by, I would say it shifts some. I've added a few things. So things I've added because same as you, I did not expect them to come up.
I just thought of another one too. But go ahead.
Was somebody said, I would love for you to dress up like a priest and fuck me. And that was like, oh, boy, I'd love to fuck. But that became a hard limit for me. The dildo in the shape of a Jesus cross. For some reason, and I'm not a Christian, I could give a rat's bottom about Christianity one way or the other. I have no, attachment one way or the other, but objectifying religious symbols like that, and I cannot tell you why. There's no logical reason, but I have a very internal sort of, that is just out, just one of my hard limits, just something I'm not willing to do.
So cool. Well, it's good to know your limits, though, right? I actually I don't even know what words to use, but I like to know that people know their limits. When we go to play with someone, because we've co-topped before, and you ask people their limits, and they're like, oh, I don't have any. I bet you do.
Sure.
You just may not know what you don't know yet. So you may not know what turns you off.
So what soft limits did you start with that you can recall?
I think it would have been some of the edgier stuff like fire play and needles and things like that. Cutting just popped into my head. I think that's a soft limit. it would have to be a soft limit if I'm thinking about it, right? It's not a hard limit. If it's a visceral, oh, fuck no, nobody's doing that to me. And to me, that's what a hard limit is. No one's doing that to me, right? So now, in words and feeling, right, I have no limits with you. Thank goodness you have the same limits. You agree with my hard limits, right? But soft limits, I guess that would have to, I guess cutting would be on there too. I used to crave cutting. Branding, probably a soft limit, which means you would probably be the only one that could push that.
Yeah. The trick is, right, one of the things I hope that people take away from this is that it is okay, completely fine, set up your hard limits, soft limits, do it as a, instinctive sort of thing. And don't be attached to it, because we certainly know many people that have changed those limits. Soft limits, I think often, you hear a lot of stories about soft limits changing, but hard limits can change as well. We know of a couple that started off with no anal, no butt stuff, and now they're all about, that's all they do is butt stuff.
So, and I'd like to actually bring up a couple of things too, in that you can have hard limits in general. You can have hard limits per person. You can have hard limits per scene, right? And if you're talking to a dominant or a top and you've told them your hard limits, and they say, oh, great, that tells me what I can push, red flag.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're allowed to have, I've seen that happen before, where a submissive has written on a group saying, this person said that they're going to push my hard limits. What do I do? And people are like, red flag, red flag. No one should be so into their ego that they should feel like they have to push someone's hard limits.
And for me, if I'm negotiating a BDSM scene, I'm not even going to distinguish soft limits, hard limits. I'm going to say, you guys just make it simple, right? Yes, no, yes, no.
What's in the box that I'm allowed to do? And once you define that, everything else is out of the box.
Right, right.
You don't have to say hard or soft.
So my initial soft limits, see, my problem is I am very, I can find something exciting with one person because they're into it and not find it exciting with someone else. For example, golden showers. I don't fantasize about golden showers in general, but if there's a person who's really into that, then that would be a turn on for me with that person. I don't think so. It's golden showers for me are not a soft limit per se. They're just something that's dependent on who I'm playing with, whether it's going to be whether I would find it valuable or not. You would have to really fucking get into. See, I guess I would say, oh boy, am I going to regret saying this? I don't know. Is poo play for me a hard limit or a soft limit right now? And the reason, and receiving, it's a hard limit. But if I was with somebody and I don't think so.
I'm sitting there going, nope.
And it's not because there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just for me, I think I would just have a really difficult time eroticizing that, even if the person I was with was really digging it. I have read a story that somebody posted, and it wasn't a story. It was hey, I really want my dom to poop on me, and here's the scene that I set up and all that. And I was like, I could see the eroticism of it in a way, but just anyway, enough of poop. Apparently not going to happen for me.
So, but I just thought of another one.
Side note, podcast listeners, if you're into poop play, write us at Dan and Dawn at Erotic Awakening, and we would love to talk about it and maybe help understand the eroticism of it.
Sure. So, coolness. I thought of another one.
Hard, soft, or what?
It used to be hard, and now it's soft.
Okay.
And you were there when the change happened. So, bastonado.
Oh.
The caning or striking of the bottom of the feet. I saw, it was one of the first scenes I ever saw, and it was a punishment scene. So what I saw was way harder than probably what most people do, or not. I don't know. But nope, no interest. No interest whatsoever. And then you and I were doing a sensual spanking class, and someone asked, well, what about striking the bottom of the feet? And you pulled up my feet and started spanking them with your hand. And I got a tingle. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. We may have to look at that now, because obviously, my thoughts on that have changed. So, but you were just barely tapping the bottom of them.
I don't even think it's a soft limit for you now. Not
Don't
with
think
me.
so? Not with you.
So do you have a different list based on who you're playing with?
Absolutely. You get to do a lot more than anybody else. And even when I've played with, I'm not allowed to call him what we used to call him on here.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay, so even when I play with him, there's a lot of things that I don't let him do. Like, you're allowed to smack my face. I don't let anyone else do that. There's a couple of other things that you and I do that when you do something to me, it feels like it shows ownership. I don't let other people do that.
But do you have, at this point, and this is one of the aspects of
But some have
soft
changed.
limits, is that they change based on, as you grow in a relationship, as you grow in trusting and confidence with somebody. Do you have any soft limits with me? Not hard limits. We know what those are. Do you have any soft limits with me?
I don't think so. It was a long time ago that I can remember thinking that I wouldn't give you any limits except for those few. So, can you think of any?
Gluten play.
I don't want to end up in the hospital.
What about blood play?
I'm okay with blood play with you.
You have never done blood play, period, and you've never done it with me.
Needles and stuff like that.
No.
I consider that blood play.
No. Remember when we were at a party in the state south of Ohio, I'm not going to say where the party was, but we were at a party, and we saw some serious hardcore.
At the very beginning.
Yeah.
At the very beginning.
Some real blood play.
Oh, yeah. No, we haven't done that. I haven't done that.
But
Would I be willing to do
where's
that
it
with
at?
you? That'd be a soft limit, I think. Would it?
So for
No, I
those
would
listening,
do that with you. Sorry. So we're sitting here negotiating.
that haven't. So what we're talking about is, the best I recall, is the person. I can't recall how they popped the blood. I don't remember if they used a needle and left it in, or did a cutting.
A scalpel. I'm thinking it was a cutting.
I didn't see the actual, but what I did
Yeah.
see was she, I don't know who's top bottom in this scene.
I remember who was the top.
The person who was bleeding had blood flowing from them, not like gunshot, but a steady flow of blood. And the other person would lick it and wipe it all over them and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you
That
wanted to,
level of blood.
Yeah.
play.
If you wanted to try that I just don't feel like I have any soft limits with you. So I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Okay.
But that is a big hard limit for playing with anybody else. I mean, that's fluid bonded.
Now, it's funny because we talk about cutting, which is absolutely edge play. I thought I wanted to explore and get into cutting, and my belly said, "Oh, no, you don't. You don't like that at all." So that's even I'm going to say that's a hard limit for me based on a physiological barrier of some sort.
The response to it.
Yeah.
Just like the
yeah.
religious play seems to be a
It's
physical.
not physical.
Really? I thought it was like a visceral reaction.
It is a visceral, but it's not because I get sick to the belly when I think about it.
Got it.
The point to all this being, podcast listeners, enjoy your hard limits, your soft limits, dig them, create them all you want. I will point this out to you, Dawn. You had a hard limit about Bastionato,
I did.
and then you saw a scene about Bastionato, and it became a soft limit, and then it became a no limit. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to be weird about this, but those two people you saw in the scene, what do they have in common now? They have both passed away.
Yes, that is true.
So my point being, feel free to make those limits, but, maybe take them out every once in a while and make sure they still make sense for you. Don't let them become roadblocks to something. And not maybe so much for hard limits, but soft limits. Don't forget, here's what I mean by this is you used to hate onions.
And now I like them grilled onions, not raw onions.
Right.
But that is true. But you are perfectly okay to keep your hard limits. You're
Absolutely.
perfectly okay. But I agree with you. Your soft limits, maybe take them out, dust them off, and look at them every now and then and see if that's still the case.
I would even say the same for your hard limits. And I don't mean the unethical, I don't mean the non-consensual ones, but the ones that are anything else, like the poop play, right? Like myself, I wouldn't call no boy cock in me a hard limit. Ha. Actually, I would call it a hard limit, but it's one that I take out and evaluate every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
So there you go. That's that.
Cool.
If you want a complete list of every hard limits in the world, then get a dictionary. But if you want to keep up with the latest events, book news, and discounts, and more, you should be getting the Erotic Awakening newsletter.
You'll also get your EA shout-out, like Betty in Chicago.
And Carolyn in Virginia.
So head over to the eroticawakening.com and subscribe today.
Dawn, right now outside, I don't know if I've put this on Instagram yet, but you and I have a couple flags out
We
on
do, the little garden flag variety. So
we
yes.
have a pineapple, we have a flamingo, and we also have one of those hippie...
love lives here, diversity,
kindness
everything.
is okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Side note, I'm just waiting for somebody to come up and say, that's a stupid sign there, and say, well, which one do you not like? The kindness? Is that what
Right.
infuriates you?
Or the one that says welcome.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Is that what that bothers you?
And they may be pissed off at the pineapple and the flamingo.
It
'cause
may
we're
well be.
Advertising.
I think on a upcoming podcast, I'm looking for a couple other, actually, there's a swinger podcast I subscribed to recently. I'm going to ask them to come on the show as part of our growth thing and teach us how to become swingers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We've had swinging podcast on the show before.
But we've not
a long
had
time
anybody
ago.
personally trying to teach you
us.
and I
How to swing.
how to swing.
If we didn't talk so much.
I've heard that before.
Cool. So
that's on an upcoming show. That will be our next, maybe not next, but that will be another one of our little growth topics.
what's this about Charlie?
So Charlie likes music.
Okay.
Not the kid.
Charlie bit my
Not
finger.
that. No, not him. Or the even cooler one from Come to Candy Mountain, Charlie. But Charlie is some dude who listens to music, and he's got a podcast called Charlie Likes Music.
Nice.
And I haven't randomly come across it, and I've been listening to it, and I don't agree with everything he says, but it's a good podcast. I hope you, podcast listeners, if you like music, head over to and find that podcast called Charlie Likes Music, and write him an email and say, hey, I heard about you from the Erotic Awakening podcast, just to mess with his head, because he don't know me from Adam. But I'm hoping some people will subscribe to him, as that will make him hopefully keep going with the podcast. That is got nothing to do with erotic anything. That's purely...
Well, now I got to go check it out. So.
Good. That's all about me taking care of me.
So, recently, someone was asking us on our Discord channel if we were going to start doing lists again. Over the years, the last 12 years, every once in a while, we'll come across a list and we will start poking at it each week. A list of kinks, a list of slave rules, a list of, I don't even know what all we've done. Flirting techniques, bad flirting techniques, things like that. So if anybody has a list that they would like for us to use, feel free to send it our way. So we may have to do it on here. We were doing the kink list.
Yep.
And then we moved from the space. And then we moved to our condo basement. And then it kind of got lost.
I like doing the list, and
I
that's
do
something we
too.
did for many, many years. We just have to find another list to do. I just was Googling for a list, and I came across a list of people I hate. How do they know? That doesn't make no sense. Beyond that, Dawn, that just about wraps it up. I do.
Almost, but there's a tentacle.
Of course, there's a tentacle.
It's that time of year again. So on Etsy, there are crocheted tentacle hats and octopus hats and squid hats and all kinds of stuff. And this one came from Ordith. So I think through FetLife is where they sent me the link.
Oh, very cool.
So, and you can actually, if you see tentacles, especially tentacle sex, not octopus sex. Remember that whole bestiality thing.
Right on.
But comic book tentacle sex or alien sex or anything like that. I love to see those pictures. And you can send them to me through FetLife. I'm Dan's Arani on there. Or the Dan and Dawn account. Or on Instagram. Or on Twitter. Or where the hell are we? Discord and stuff like that. So we are either Erotic Awakening or Dan and Dawn. What are you looking at?
I just posted that picture of our flags.
So, did you ever
to
post
the Instagram?
Did you ever post our shower picture?
I will post the shower picture as well.
Before we left Michigan, the way the shower house was at this campground was the men went into the men's side bathroom, the women's went into the women's side bathroom, and then there was a door in each one of those that went into a co-ed shower area. And there were signs that said, this is co-ed, dress accordingly. But there was a huge shower room with a lock on it alongside the little single shower room.
Yes,
So
there was.
we made use of that.
We did. I have our Discord joiners. I'm sure there's a real word for it.
Guest attendees, members.
Sure. Our members, got to see the picture of you and me in the shower a couple days ago, but I did picture that.
Our Patron Discord members, because that's on our
because it's not safe for work.
Pictures. Yep.
But you can see it too. Head over to Instagram and see the picture of the day, which our account there is Erotic Awakening.
Awesome. So take a moment to support us on the podcast. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Or just tell your friends. You kind of messed that one up. I normally say that
I
one.
know you, and then I jumped in and screwed it all up. So, like I said before, feel free to reach out to us. We love interacting with our listeners. We actually look forward to interacting with our listeners. So, check us out on our social media.
Or you can contact with questions or comments about the podcast, even just to say hi.
Either on Instagram, like I said before, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, FetLife, or
just toss us an email at our email is dananddawn at eroticawakening.com.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, Dawn.